SJ Saris lived a truly legendary life. Born in 1873 and raised in Lebanon as the son of a well-to-do olive grower, Mr. Sarkeys was lured to America by his two brothers who found success in St. Louis. He joined his brothers in the gateway to the American West and made a living as a traveling salesman peddling carbide lamps. He struck out to find greater fortune in South America, but became sidetracked along the way in Cushing, Oklahoma, where he watched an oil well come in. This proved to be a life-changing experience, as Mr. Sarkeys became captivated by the oil and gas industry and began selling oil and gas leases and acquiring mineral rights. Until his death at 92, Mr. Sarkeys maintained a tireless work schedule with extensive travel and a daily swimming regimen, amassing a fortune along the way. He never owned a home, but was known to stay in hotels and boarding houses around Oklahoma and Texas and anywhere he traveled. Although eccentric, Mr. Sarkeys' heart of gold and spirit of generosity resulted in the establishment of the foundation because of his desire to help others less fortunate. 3 years prior to Mr. Sarkeys' death, the Sarkeys Foundation was established with shares of Sarkeys Incorporated stock worth $10,000. The foundation made grants to a few organizations, including the First Christian Church of Norman in its early years. But it wasn't until the influx of funds after Mr. Sarkeys' death in 1965 that the foundation had the resources it needed to get off the ground.
The story of the Sarkeys Foundation's beginning and growth is amazing. Before the bequest from the Sarkeys estate came in, the Sarkeys Foundation total assets were just over $35,000. Through 1965, a grand total of $14,000 had been dispersed. After Mr. Sarkeys' death in 1965, the infusion of cash and properties that came in was probably worth a few $1 million. The records from that time aren't comprehensive, but we do know that in the following year, the grants became much larger. Both OU Medical School and the Francis Willard Home for Girls received $25,000. Over the years since, our board, our trustees, and our staff have grown and matured, and so have the assets of the foundation. One of the most prolific times of growth was under the stewardship of Boyd Gunning, managing trustee from 1979 to 1990. During that 11-year period, the assets of the foundation more than doubled from $21 million to $50 million. The largest grant we've ever awarded was made during that time, $3.3 million to fund the Sarkeys Energy Center at the University of Oklahoma. That gift demonstrates the foundation's commitment to education and also serves as a great tribute to our founder and his passion for the oil and gas industry. He was a great wildcatter and a great oil man.
Today, our focus continues to be on education, social service organizations, arts and culture, and humanities. In total, the Sarkeys Foundation has awarded nearly 1,700 grants, totaling around $85 million. And in doing so, we've impacted every corner of the state of Oklahoma. In the last decade, our focus has expanded to include equipping the agencies we fund with resources that go beyond finances. In 2001, Sarkeys Foundation moved its offices to the newly renovated former church building where we reside today. The space features a flexible conference room facility, offices, a beautiful library, and a nonprofit resource center. We also provide regular nonprofit education opportunities. The Southwest Regional Leadership Forum, which began in 2001 with approximately 250 attendees, will see nearly 700 participants and presenters this year alone. As proud as we are of the Sarkeys story, we know that it doesn't end with us. Our story continues with the stories of the organizations we fund and support. We are proud to partner with organizations who excel in passion, relationship, mission, and leadership. It is only by telling some of their stories that the story of the Sarkeys Foundation can be complete.
Well, Life Change Ballroom was definitely a calling. I had never ever had a dance lesson in my life. I became totally addicted to the second season of Dancing with the Stars without ever having watched any of the first. Mad Hot Ballroom, two of the Oprah specials with Bill and Melinda Gates on the decline of the public schools. And when I put all of that together, there was no way I could not put this program in our city. And what we found was it's one of the best ways. We're like a mentoring program disguised as ballroom. It's a great way to mentor both boys and girls at the same time. You don't always have that opportunity. But what we found in doing that is that immediately they start treating one another differently. The boys are kinder to the girls are nicer to the boys, and we get tons of great testimonials from principals and teachers on the difference in the way the kids are treating each other almost immediately. So we're really, really proud of the way it works. And the kids that we're working with live in dire poverty. And so we're talking about gangs, we're talking about violence, we're talking about drugs and alcohol. A lot of times they're from single parent homes. A lot of times they're dealing with incarceration. Sometimes they have heat and air, sometimes they don't. So they deal with a lot of issues that we would never have to deal with. And so what we want to show these kids is that there is a way out. There's another way to live. We're teaching social skills and coping skills most of them don't have. And so through this program, they're learning those things, and they're learning that their life can be different. Their life with their parents does not have to be their life. We're offering them a bridge out of poverty. And that is my passion for Life Change Ballroom.
In 1988, my wife, Jasmine, and I were taking our two grandchildren, ages 5 and 7, along with our oldest daughter, on a vacation to Michigan. As we crossed the Michigan border, we were one day early for our reservation. We stopped at a Michigan tourist center, and we saw a brochure advertising the Flint, Michigan Children's Museum. So we took our grandchildren there. When we saw what they were getting out of this fabulous museum, we said to ourselves, Oklahoma has nothing like this, and it should. I had a video camera with me. I videoed the entire museum, came back to Oklahoma. I invited 15 people to have lunch with me. I showed the video, and everyone agreed we should do this in Seminole, Oklahoma, for all Oklahoma children. An amazing 4th grade teacher, Marcy Donahoe, was elected president of our board. Other than me, no one at that luncheon had ever heard of a children's museum, much less seen one. No one at that luncheon had ever been involved with any museum of any kind. No one at that luncheon had ever been involved with fundraising, but we were going to do this project. Marcy and I made most of the fundraising presentations, and almost no one turned us down. We thought people had confidence in what we were going to do. But after we opened in 1993, we discovered that wasn't true. So many of our donors said to us, we never thought you would open, but we gave you money only because you were so passionate about the project. We did not have the heart to turn you down.
Well, he's very humble. It's the leadership, his vision and his leadership gathered a bunch of people who, as he said, knew nothing about museums, very little about nonprofits, but through his leadership and vision, he transformed a group of people into stellar nonprofit people with all together for the same cause, the mission of the Children's Museum. And the fact that people couldn't turn him down because of his passion, it's because of his name and what he has meant to this state. And he's probably thinking, Marcy, stop, but I have to tell you, we all know that Malcolm Moran is the reason his dream has come to life because of his passion, but his leadership.
Well, Health for Friends started back in 1985 when a woman by the name of Kathy Heupel saw a need out in the community. She was a nurse and was having these community health fairs and kept seeing the same people show up that were needing significantly more health care than what she could provide. So she went to McFarland Church and got a doctor to volunteer, and they started Health for Friends. And from that, they moved into a converted motorcycle garage. And then from that transformed into what we have today, which is a comprehensive dental, medical, and pharmacy. Health for Friends' mission is to provide patient-centered health care to the uninsured to better their lives and also better the community. What that means for us is to be able to provide what they need, all that they need in one place. So if they come to us for a medical need and say they need dental, we can take them right around the corner and they can get their dental needs met. But all that doesn't matter if they don't get their prescription filled. So they can go right across the hall to our pharmacy and be able to get that script filled and get taking those pills and getting better. And so we try to be holistic and a complete source of care for these individuals. We try to stay focused on what our mission is, which is providing the patient-centered healthcare services. There's a lot of other avenues that we could go down that there's funding for, but we feel that what we know best is providing medical care, dental care, and pharmacy to the individuals in Norman. And so we stay true to our mission, and we only look for those grants that are able to fund what we do at Health for Friends.
Iron Gate is a soup kitchen and food pantry in downtown Tulsa. We've been in business since 1984. We started just feeding the homeless. It was a new phenomenon, people living on the street. This year we will feed about 240,000 people. And we have seen the demographics change radically, especially since the recession. We are feeding as many working poor or families with children as we are homeless and unemployed. Mostly the people who come to the soup kitchen, hot meal every day, it's a morning meal, are homeless. Sometimes they are employees, like laborers, who are having a hot meal before they go to work. We give grocery bags, emergency grocery bags, once a week. Most of those are to families and children. And because we are seeing so many more children come in, we started a kids pantry. And one of the main things we do there, it's very popular with the kids, is give a plastic Ziploc bag stuffed full of kid-friendly food that's nutritious. In addition to feeding people a basic need, food, we like to think that we are offering more than a meal. We have a very pretty facility with a mural on one wall that one of our donors painted. It's a real scene of the Arkansas River, so the people who eat there don't feel like they're in an antiseptic institution. It's welcoming and it's warm. And we like to say that we are feeding them more than a meal. We are offering them friendship, hospitality, a respite to get out of the storm of their lives for a couple of hours a day. We know them, we hug them, we talk to them, and we discovered quite by accident that one of the hardest things about being homeless is that nobody looks at you. That's harder than wondering where you're going to eat or where you're going to sleep. People look down, look away, cross the street, avoid the homeless. So we started taking photos of the people who come to eat with us, and we put them on the bulletin boards, and we put them in the brochures with writing contests. We call the people who come to Iron Gate our guests because we invite them in. We have no requirements at all, nothing. You just come in, we feed you. And we say that we are all guests on this earth. And as guests, we should treat one another with courtesy and kindness and respect. And that's the basic premise of our relationship with our guests. We want to be caring, we want to be courteous, we want to give them a relationship with people that respect them, the hope that they can build their lives on this. Give them hope to move beyond a soup kitchen, out into the world and be self-sufficient.
The next chapter of the Sarkeys story is being written every day. As the organizations we support grow and flourish in their passion, relationship, mission, and leadership, we know our story will be enriched by the impact being made on lives all around Oklahoma.